Hannah stood at the threshold of the Galactic Academy of Sciences, her small backpack pressed against her uniform as she stared up at the towering glass doors. They gleamed in the light of 3 suns, imposing and majestic. With a deep breath, she straightened her shoulders and stepped inside. The main hall was alive with movement and chatter. Alien beings of every imaginable shape and size floated, crawled, or walked past her, speaking in languages she didn't yet understand. Whispers followed her, subtle yet cutting. "Is that a human? They actually let one in? I thought humans were too primitive." Hannah kept her gaze forward, tuning out the judgmental stares and comments. Her military training had taught her how to navigate hostile environments without flinching. Finding her classroom was easy. 5 years in the Earth Defense Forces had left her with an almost perfect sense of direction. Hannah stood at the threshold of the Galactic Academy of Sciences, her small backpack pressed against her uniform as she stared up at the towering glass doors. They gleamed in the light of 3 suns, imposing and majestic. With a deep breath, she straightened her shoulders and stepped inside. The main hall was alive with movement and chatter. Alien beings of every imaginable shape and size floated, crawled, or walked past her, speaking in languages she didn't yet understand. Whispers followed her, subtle yet cutting. "Is that a human? They actually let one in? I thought humans were too primitive." Hannah kept her gaze forward, tuning out the judgmental stares and comments. Her military training had taught her how to navigate hostile environments without flinching. Finding her classroom was easy. 5 years in the Earth Defense Forces had left her with an almost perfect sense of direction. Imagine Kulta to Agar. She chose a seat in the far corner where she could observe everyone and everything, an old habit born of years on the battlefield. The instructor, Professor Tech, looked like a towering metallic praying mantis, his silvery body catching the light as he clicked his mandibles and read the roll call. "Ah, a human," he said with barely concealed distaste, his antennae twitching. 2 students in the front turned to gawk. The one on the left, Rex, had shimmering blue skin. Beside him sat Vera, whose crystalline body refracted the classroom lights like a prism. "I hear they still use physical weapons," Rex said loudly, throwing bits of metal at each other. The class erupted in laughter. Hannah's expression didn't change. She'd faced worse than schoolyard taunts, far worse. Their first subject was xenobiology, and though Hannah took notes diligently, she struggled. It wasn't because she was human, but because her past 5 years had been spent learning warfare, not alien anatomy. In the next class, a combat simulation module, things shifted. The instructor activated a holographic image of a Nexon fighter. "Who can identify its weak points?" he asked. Silence followed. Hannah knew every vulnerability. She had destroyed enough of these ships during the war, but she hesitated. Rex ventured a guess. "The engine core?" "Incorrect," the teacher replied. Hannah sighed quietly and raised her hand. "The junction between the plasma vents and the main thruster housing," she said. "Hit it right and the whole ship loses power. They tried fixing it in the Mark I fighters, but it just shifted the weak point to the coolant systems." The entire class turned to stare, Professor. Tech blinked all 4 eyes. "That's absolutely correct." The bell rang before he could question her further. Hannah gathered her things quickly and left. Back in her dorm room, she finally exhaled. Her roommate hadn't arrived yet, giving her a moment of quiet. She stared into the mirror at a face that looked too young for what it had endured. From her pocket, she pulled a silver medal. The Star of Terror, the highest military honor in human history. 5 years ago, she had earned it by protecting 3 colony ships with a damaged fighter. Now, she kept it hidden, a reminder of a past she was trying to bury. A knock at the door startled her. She tucked the medal away. "Come in," she said. The door slid open to reveal a cheerful alien girl with lavender skin and silver eyes. "Hi, I'm Kaio, your roommate." Hannah offered a polite smile. "I'm Hannah." Kaio's eyes sparkled. "The human student! This is so exciting. I've never met a human before." Hannah nodded but said little. What would Kaio think if she knew she wasn't just any human, but the legendary Ghostrunner of the Human Nexan War? That was a truth Hannah had no intention of revealing. 2 weeks into the semester, Kaio awoke early to find Hannah's bed empty. That wasn't unusual, but the sound of running water and quiet gasps of pain from the bathroom was. "Hannah?" Kaio called gently. The noise stopped. "I'm fine," Hannah replied, her voice calm and even. When she emerged, Kaio noticed red scars up her arms, quickly hidden by her long-sleeved uniform. They weren't ordinary scars. They looked like plasma burns. That day, Professor Tech introduced a new topic, the Human Nexan War. Hannah's fingers clenched on her desk. The only one who noticed was Kaio. "Why did humans last so long against the superior Nexon fleet?" Tech asked. Rex's hand shot up. "Because they fought dirty. Guerrilla tactics, ambushes, they didn't fight honourably." Hannah's jaw twitched. "Not exactly," the professor replied. Suddenly the lights went out. Red emergency lighting filled the room, a routine power glitch. But Hannah dropped to the floor instantly, scanning the room for threats and reaching for a non-existent weapon. She recovered quickly, embarrassed as laughter echoed around her. "Scared of the dark," Vera teased. "That's enough," Professor Tech said, though he clicked his mandibles in amusement. Only Kaio saw Hannah's hands trembling. That night, Kaio woke to Hannah whispering in her sleep, "Get them out first, children, the escape pods." Hannah twisted under the sheets, her face strained with anguish. "I'll hold them off. Get the colonists to safety." Kaio reached over and gently touched her shoulder. Hannah's eyes snapped open, wild with fear. "You were dreaming," Kaio said. Hannah sat up slowly. "Sorry, I didn't mean to wake you." "Do you want to talk about it?" "No, but thank you." The next day, their class viewed historical footage of the Battle of Proxima, where a lone human fighter had saved 3 colony ships. Hannah didn't look up once. Kaio, watching closely, saw her friend's hands shaking again when the footage played the Ghostrunner maneuver. "Quite impressive," Professor Tech noted. "Though we never learned who the pilot was, just their call sign." Kaio studied Hannah's scars, her rigid posture, her refusal to meet anyone's eyes, and suddenly she understood. Her roommate wasn't just a student. She was Ghostrunner. The Academy's annual war history presentation was a grand event. Rex stepped up confidently. "I will present the Battle of Proxima," he announced. Hannah went still in her seat. Rex's version of the battle was wrong. He claimed the Nexon ships were low on fuel, their targeting disrupted by solar flares. A quiet sound escaped Hannah, part laugh, part disbelief. Then she stood. "That's wrong," she said, her voice low but firm. "All of it is wrong." Rex sneered. "And how would you know?" Hannah walked to the front, reprogramming the hologram with practiced ease. The Nexon ships had just refueled, their formation was perfect, and their systems weren't disrupted by flares. They were fooled by me. She pointed to the hologram. The pilot used enemy plasma trails to create a net, blocking pursuit. Emergency beacons confused targeting. "And how do you know that?" Tech asked. "Because I was the one flying." Silence fell. "You were Ghostrunner," Vera whispered. Hannah reached into her pocket and pulled out the Star of Terror. The hall exploded with noise. Teachers shouted for order. Students swarmed her. Hannah stood quietly, her secret no longer hidden. The next morning the academy was buzzing. An even bigger surprise followed. During assembly, the principal introduced a special visitor, Admiral Dewar, from the human fleet. When his eyes found Hannah, he smiled. "Ah, Ghostrunner, good to see you again." "At ease, Captain," he added. More gasps. Hannah wasn't just a hero, she was a captain. Later, Admiral Dewar showed real footage from the Battle of Proxima. Students watched in awe as a single human fighter outmaneuvered Nexon warships. "That's Hannah," Ko whispered, watching her friend perform impossible aerial feats.